Thank you, Kevin. Great to be with you all. As Kevin said, what I'd like to do is project ahead. Where are our initial investments in low code taking us? Because I think it's a really good place, and it's some really good rewards as well as risks that we need to understand. So first, let's start with today. You all are bringing in low code platforms. You're here, Appian certainly fits that description, probably working with some others as well. And as a result of these investments, we're creating a really fast-growing market. This is a market that's really on fire. This is our forecast. It's based on an analysis of company revenues and growth rates. And the companies in this space are growing really, really rapidly. They're solving real problems, and the result is really strong growth. So it's a real market. Now, why has this market come about? Well, I love history, so I always like to look at the roots of things. Low code really took off as we were coming out of the Great Recession. Businesses were now in a position to start to look at growth again. They were looking at technology investments and other investments as well. There was the added urgency of some very interesting digital disruptors. Uber and the like were just getting started to add to some urgency, use technology in very inventive ways. And a lot of the focus on innovation that clients were looking at was actually focused on customers. It was about making their interactions with customers very smart and totally personal. It was hard, but they had to use technology to get there. So they generally started with either web apps or mobile apps, a lot of mobile apps. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. They were really setting in motion a completely different way of thinking about the way they were using technology to drive their businesses, to drive innovation, and most of all, to better serve their customers. So low code was a really good, was a right solution at the right time, because in order to deliver these innovations for customers, people needed a lot more software, and they needed it fast. They couldn't take a year. They needed it fast. They might start with something small and then evolve it, but they were moving really, really quickly. And they were doing a lot of projects. And the low code platforms just were really, really a good solution for that. Now, in describing the emergence of these solutions, I built this diagram. And a lot of people, what I was trying to do was basically help people understand the difference. Difference between coding and low coding. A lot of people interpreted this as a zero-sum game. Low code wins, coding loses. There can't be both. No, this is not a zero-sum game. Low code was a very handy, sort of the right development at the right time. And besides, there's so much more that low code unlocked that we only now, I think, are beginning to understand. So let's look at that. Where are we going? So where we're going is digital business. It's everybody in this room, every company, every organization, every enterprise on this planet is in some way or form transforming themselves to digital business, to digital form of their activities. And as they do so, they are finding that there are huge gaps in their automation and in their processes in particular. Those mobile apps or those fancy web apps that they may have started the journey with, now all those have done is expose all of the ugly, broken operational processes that sit behind the scenes. The processes where somebody actually has to go and grab some data or run across town or whatever. It's a digital world. So where we are, the problem here is that what the customer journey looks at is the sum total of the front door, the mobile app, the website, the storefront, whatever it happens to be, plus all those operational processes. They've got to be in sync. And we've got to have automation across the board in order to really deliver, again, on individualized, really smart customer experiences. So what we've got to do here is really focus our attention on these operational processes. To use a baseball analogy, any baseball fans in the room? I hope there's a few, all right. We've got to hit for the cycle. What we've been doing is hitting a lot of singles. There's a lot of really good work that's gone into customer experiences that focuses on the front end, customer apps, if you will. We got to progress to doubles now because the operational processes, if they are not automated, they will destroy everything we accomplish in those customer apps on the front end. There's many, many examples of this. We just don't have time to go in today. Moreover, we got to progress to triples because as we automate our operational processes, we gather data about those processes. We're gathering data about the customers. We get a lot smarter. We harvest that data to understand what we need to do next, where we ought to automate next, how we ought to evolve. Ultimately, we are fueling a very dynamic digital business model that will continue then to create value. But we got to hit for the cycle more often, more extra base hits. By the way, I called out the Miami Marlins hometown team, great bunch of guys, young guys, a lot of fun to watch. And the poor Miami Marlins fans, when they get up in the morning, the one thing they say is, "Thank God for the Cincinnati Reds. They're the only team worse than we are." I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan, by the way, so have sympathy. So operational processes, let's talk about that a little bit more. What do we mean by that? These are some of the leading examples that we've been finding in our work with clients. A lot of scheduling, resources, people, parts, and other things that get products repaired and so forth. Returns and warranties, big problem, particularly if you're working across channels, particularly if you're in an omni-channel environment. Audits, investigations, fraud, et cetera. Evaluations, testing, eligibility, incident management. Incident management, big issue all over the lot. These are just the horizontal ones, and everybody's got them. But then you also are in industries where you've got your own vertical versions of these, plus a lot of other operational processes that are specific to banking or insurance or healthcare or what have you. There are thousands of these operational processes, and most of them are unautomated. Most of them are in fact, sitting there waiting to disrupt the great customer experiences that we're trying to create. Now, let's look at these operational processes because they have 6 characteristics in common that it's going to be very important for us to understand if we're going to solve this automation problem. So, first, they're not just processes. We might have thought of this in the past, that they were just processes or maybe an integration application. No, they're full applications. They involve process, UI, integration, whatever, data management, data access, and so forth. Second, their goal in automating these processes is to create those individualized customer experiences and journeys. We can't lose sight of that. That's the bar that's been set. We've got to hit it. Third, they cross organizational silos. This is why it's very hard to automate these processes. They run into political boundaries, technical boundaries, legacy technology, budgetary boundaries, the usual boundaries that make cross-organizational work so difficult. The next one's really important. They are built by the process owners, at least led by the process owners, with the support of the technical community, with the support of IT. The process owners know the process, they know the data, they know what matters, they know where to get the wins, the quick wins, and then build out from there. They need help because they're not software professionals, but they can do a lot of work given the right support and the right platforms. This is again where low code comes in. It's very, very important. They really need to lead this new range of automation. Next one's really important. They generally tend to start small. These are not 2 to 3 year projects where we're going to automate the strategic process, the 2 or 3 strategic processes in our businesses. These are hundreds of projects, and they tend to start small, and the business owners lead a discovery of what the real requirements are, and then go forth and implement the automation, and then keep building. and keep building as we learn more and more about what works. So again, it's not 10 apps, it's hundreds at the end of the day. And that's the last point, is that these operational processes are many in number. Hundreds, large organizations have thousands. So again, low code is a really good play here because it's quick delivery, test ideas and learn as you go. But these are characteristics that are quite different for us to understand. Now, we're starting to get this as a community. We're in transition. All of us, we call it digital transformation. We might call it transition. All of us are in transition from where we were 2006 or thereabouts to where we want to be with digital businesses. And we find that people are starting to get it. At least they're starting to focus on the importance of digital transformation. So here's some results from a survey that we did just recently of a group of process professionals. And you can see that when we ask them what's really driving your process initiatives, accelerating digital transformation is rising. And in 2 years' time, they expect it'll be the top reason. Cost reductions, cost savings, which is the old sort of metric that we used to use for these kinds of applications, is declining. This is good news, but here's the problem. We asked this same question to a similar group 2 years ago, got the same result. So people get it, but they're having trouble delivering. And there's some reasons for that. And there's, I think, 4 strategies that we need to adopt to really start to pick up the process and hit more home runs, hit more for the cycle. So first, we're going to focus on operational processes. And then we're going to look at 4 strategies. Number 1, we've got to organize our software delivery capacity in toto. Not just the work that the IT people do, not just the work that the people bringing in SaaS do, or our partners, but our business experts. They are one way for us to deliver this software. And we've got to look at the whole, all 4 methods that we've got available to us and balance them. Now, the hardest part of this is enlisting and harnessing your business people as part of this process. And the reason is because the attitudes about these people and the software work they do are so negative. We call them rogue, they're often called rogue developers. That's bad. That means they're bad. We don't like them, we don't like what they do, we wish they would go away. Actually, we can get them started by simply moving the work that they're doing anyway in Excel or Access or other personal productivity applications, move it onto a managed platform. So we can see what they're doing. We can capture the data that the data sets that they're actually building up and begin to manage them as part of our overall data strategy. That simple step starts a progression to begin to really harness these folks in your strategy. And we gotta look at everybody in the organization who's able to contribute. I portrayed the business developers in the dark blue here. The key issue with these folks is figuring out what in your organization they can do. So there's some really smart people who don't have development backgrounds, but they've really got good skills. Figure out what they can do, and then start to recognize the fact that they are contributing to your strategy. Most business people who do software do it on their spare time. They're not going to do that forever. And then you've got the technical community. Start to really work them into one big picture. And for the business people in your strategy, give them career paths. Recognize their software work, and then give them career paths as well. Harkening back to the warring tribes, we're low code, we're coding, you guys stink, no, you were the best, this zero-sum game. No, we got to put that away. Low code is really, really important. It has enabled a lot of progress and will continue to enable a lot of progress. Coding will always be with us, and everything in between. There will be deep coders, there will be app coders, there will be SAP people, there will be Salesforce people, there will be business people using no code, no scripting at all. all of these approaches we will have in our portfolios. The thing is that each one of these folks can contribute to the other's work if we set up a foundation. I call it a foundation of collective and mutual support. So our coders, they should be creating services for integration, for example, for major functional areas, major functions that people working in a low-code environment can incorporate, they consume in their applications. People working in a no-code environment, say mocking out a high-level process because they got an idea about how to improve the business, those high-level processes generally come through as assets that if we want a developer to pick those up in a low-code platform, pick it up as an asset. Don't just throw a document over the wall. This is what I mean. Put together collaboration, common platforms, IT support, really important, and community and sharing mechanisms and change management to enable all of these folks to contribute to the software need that we have. Now, a good first step on this, I've never seen anybody tackle that slide, that prior slide, the magnitude of that across the enterprise. It's too hard. It's just too hard. But a good first step that I have seen people take is to take a single department and match them up with an IT function or somebody from the technical community and make a partnership. The role of the IT people in that partnership is to stand up the platform, to run it, to maintain it, to upgrade it, to handle security permissions and identity management, and now advice on how to adhere to GDPR coming along, and things like that, so that the business people can self-serve. They can build the processes, the applications, the operational automation that they need when they need it. They decide on the priorities, they decide on the funding, they decide on how that work progresses. They have the support, they have the safety net of the technical community under them, taking away those concerns about, software project structures and platforms and upgrades that business people, they don't want to deal with that. And we don't want them to deal with that. We want them to focus on automating operational processes. So I've seen this set up in about a half a dozen cases. I'm sure there are more. It can work really well if you get it together, if you really put a partnership together. Plus, you'll learn from the experience how that partnership needs to work. And you'll start to learn about the change management you need to drive if you want to scale this up to the second department, the third department, and ultimately, hopefully, to the whole enterprise. Okay, last bit of this, the last piece of strategy here is we're in an era of just amazing technological innovation. Matt, in his talk this morning, called out AI, which actually is a multitude of technologies to take advantage of. We also are seeing a lot of potential, a lot of commercial potential now from the Internet of Things. There's a lot of sensor data out there that's really useful. And also, blockchain is we're starting to, I think, as an industry to understand the value that blockchain can provide to us. The thing is that these technologies are now reaching commercialization. We want to be able to take advantage of them. And we want to be able to take advantage of them through our entire development strategy. It's not just that coders can work with blockchain, for example. If blockchain provides value, we want to expose that value, the services or the functions it can provide, so that our people working in low-code in low-code environments can take advantage of that. Same with business developers. If we can make these technical innovations consumable, then we can continue to take advantage of them. So it's not the development strategy, your platform strategy, your overall strategy here can't be frozen at this moment in time. It has to be able to evolve because there are, God knows what technologies coming down the pike that are going to provide additional opportunities for you to do really well by your customers, for you to understand them better, serve them better, and profit from it. Okay? So I hope that I haven't scared you. There's a lot of work to do here, and organizational change management is not easy. But there's also tremendous opportunity for all of us as we go forward to progress as digital businesses. So thank you very much. I hope I've helped.